So, friends, there are many people in the world who don't just study healing, but they live it. Our guest today, Sharon, is a complex trauma coach and evidential medium who has dedicated her life to helping people discover something profound, that the beliefs quietly running our lives and the one we did not choose and often can't see are the very things keeping us stuck. Okay, and her journey has not been easy. She has walked through profound loss, done the hard inner work, and come out of other side with something rare and real wisdom. Meditation became her anchor, presence became her practice. And today, that inner transformation is the foundation of everything she is bringing to the people she serves. She is here to share a piece of that journey with us. And if you are open to it, it is just might shift something within you also, my dear friends. So be open, keep your hearts open. And with this open heart, let us all welcome Sharon today. Welcome to the session, Sharon. The stage is all yours. Yes. Oh, sorry. Let me make you co-host.
There we go. Thank you. I don't mind talking to myself. I do that often, but tonight I'm doing group, right? So thank you for unmuting me. And thank you for having me here tonight, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. I wish I could see all of you right now. I love putting faces to names. Hello. Hi, Seema. Nice to see you. So, everybody's journey is different and yet quite the same. I listened to the replay of last night's session, and what you said about it does seem to be pronounced in women, that low self-worth, that low self-esteem. And then it can be also cultural, it can be something that we've been programmed with since childhood, that it's not okay for us to just be ourselves, to ask for what we want, or not even ask for what we want, to take, cancel asking, to take what it is that we want. We are entitled to that just simply by being born. Everything is available to and for us. I lived half of my life, at least half of my life, in fear, in terror, in being under somebody's thumb, being physically, emotionally, mentally abused. And it got to a point one day I said to myself, how much more can I take of this? And can I take 5 more years of this? And I got an immediate no, You need to get out of the situation you're in. So I took action of that, and I was terrified. I must say, I had this belief, I had 2 children, I have 2 children. How am I going to manage with 2 children? How am I going to support us, feed us, shelter us, etc.? And somehow something welled up inside of me, and I moved out of that situation, took my children with me. And that's when life really started to unfold in a more positive way. I'd signed up for a course. I'm not sure if I shared this before. I signed up for a course through the local college in one of their little trailers that they do offsite. And the course was on how to develop self-confidence. And I was so excited to start that journey. So I show up the first night and I'm the only one there. So they decided to cancel the class. So rather than be defeated by that, I was determined I was going to get self-confidence some way, somehow. I was fortunate to read the book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And in that, he talks about gaining self-confidence is done by doing the thing that you fear the most. Do it once, and then you'll see, oh, that's not so bad. And you keep doing it until you're not even thinking about it anymore. You simply have the confidence in that thing. And as I progressed, especially when I moved to Florida in the year 2000, I was really at the right place at the right time. There were lots of spiritual centers around me. I made many friends. I was part of a leadership group in Cape Coral. And my spiritual path really took off then. I discovered Don Miguel Ruiz, Joe Dispenza, Eckhart Tolle, Michael Singer. I mean, all of them, all the books that are currently being read in these different groups. I read them back in 2002, 2003, 2004, but I was thirsty for all of that knowledge. And I also got into walking big time, morning walks. I would walk for a couple of hours every morning. And what I later realized, that was a form of meditation for me. It was a very quiet time. It was early in the morning, no disturbances around me, some light traffic noise. And what I realized is that walking meditation, it took me from a state of attempting to control things in my life to simply allowing things to unfold and being okay with them, not trying to control anymore. That's where the resistance came in, and that's where a lot of my suffering took place. In conjunction with that, I discovered the work of Byron Katie, which is all about uncovering those hidden beliefs, the ones that are running our lives, the ones that were holding me back. And it was a slow process, definitely not overnight, and it's still a work in progress for me. But what I also found in those meditative walks was that quieting my mind allowed me room to hear my higher self. And in that silence, lots of insights came to me. Memories from a long time ago would surface, presumably because I was ready to look at them at that time. I'm a firm believer those thoughts and beliefs will not come up until we are ready to look at them. And I had so many realizations. My mother was my mother was an alcoholic, and she was brutal. She was very violent at many levels. And during one of those morning meditation walks, I just had a soft thought that my mother wasn't capable of demonstrating love. She just wasn't. And many years later, I realized she had a troubled childhood too. So she was lost in her own problems and transmuted them onto me in some degree, maybe looking for relief in all the wrong ways, right? And as I've grown in my own development, I've come to realize that about a lot of things that I blamed other people for. I had to start taking responsibility myself because I was the one that had the stories going on. It may be the incident that happened one time, but I played it over and over and over the years, and it stuck and it tormented me. And now, when I sit in meditation, especially since joining the Atlanta Pyramid Group, where I'm forcing myself to sit and be still that way. I still do my walks and I still do meditation that way. But when I'm sitting there, I'm able to notice once I relax into it, it takes me a few minutes because that mind chatter is going on. But once I relax into it, I notice the feelings that are arising and I can just sit with them now without attaching a story to those feelings. And I look at those feelings and I'm just really quiet. Now that transformation begins to happen. And Sheila, you mentioned at the beginning of last night that, the first day it might be this, the second day it's a different feeling experience, and third day, fourth day. And that's what happens when these different responses come up and I look at it, these different emotions come up. That transformation has started in that moment. And I literally have observed over the next many days, it's a feeling of lightness that takes over. It's a feeling of relief and release almost. And what used to have a hold on me now no longer has a hold on me, thank goodness. And it's like if I unravel this thread today, it seems to unravel the entire past. It really does, going all the way back to my childhood, because I recognize it for what it is. For me, it's just a story that I've had running. It's a story that I made up. And what I've also, and I touched on this, I no longer blame others. It's so easy to point the finger outward for something that's going on in me. And I used to be a great blamer. Oh, you made me feel this way, and you did this, and it, and made me blah 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 blah. And the truth is, that person was innocent. They just said or did something. I got triggered by something I was believing about myself. Now, when I sit and when I relax and when I feel my whole body relax, then I can look at that particular situation, my reaction to it, and I can really see that that other person had nothing to do with it. So, meditation has enabled me starting, this had to be back in 2004, I think, is when I really started the walking meditation. And when I got involved in all these other programs that I did holosync for 12 years, which is like a subliminal, if you will, only it's my voice is the subliminal statements there. And I took it all the way to the end level. And I noticed in the first 3 months of doing that, almost all of my anger dissipated. I don't know what's in it. I don't care. I just know it worked at dissipating the anger. And then it just took me deeper and deeper. And it was actually as a result of that I had that awareness that my mother had not been capable of love, not for herself and not for anybody else. And I've also come to understand that in light of that, however I am internally, if I can't love myself, then I'm not able to love anybody else. And if I can't like myself or don't like myself, I have a hard time liking other people. It turns into criticism. And then I go bashing myself. Oh, you were so critical. You're supposed to be passing peace through the world. And so that cycle's going on. And somebody posted about, Matt Who posted about kindness. And I said, it starts with us. I can't be kind to you if I don't start by being kind to me. That would be so false. So these are areas too, sitting there. It's almost sometimes like a mantra that I say to myself, kind words to myself, be nice. I'm sure we're all aware of Louise Hay. And I think it's You Can Heal Your Life. She talks about doing mirror work and going to the mirror and I love you, Sharon. I love you. I love you. I love you. That exercise is not to convince me that I love me. It's to show me what thoughts come up behind it, because that's where the work begins. So I can look at that mirror and say, I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'm like, oh, my eyebrows look uneven. And oh, look at those wrinkles. So that's where my work is, going in and learning to be okay with wrinkles, learning to be okay with uneven eyebrows or whatever comes up in that mirror work. And again, getting still enough and just allowing that to come up and looking at its origin. Where did that come from? Well, maybe as a child being told I was ugly, or kids making fun of me. My mother used to say, now I'm going to be conscious of it. My mother used to say I had ears like Dumbo, the elephant. And so that stuck with me for years. I was afraid to wear my hair pulled back. Now I love having my hair pulled back. I don't care what my ears look like. It only matters to me, and my ears to me are fine just the way they are. But you see, we get programmed along the way, and that programming is so strong, and we take on other people's beliefs without even realizing they're someone else's beliefs. We might repeat to our, if you have children, to our children something, and maybe they'll question it one day, and you'll have to stop and think, I don't know why we do that. That happened to me with my son. I think I shared this at another time. I was brought up, when you broil something, you have to leave the oven door open a bit. And so I told my son to do that. And he said, why? And I said, I have no idea. So that wasn't even my belief. That was something that had been passed down to me. You know, you can't walk, if you walk under a ladder, it's bad luck. Who says, now I go out of my way to walk under a ladder, testing my own belief system. I believe it's not bad luck. And, we've experimented closing the oven when we're broiling and nothing happens, so again, carrying someone else's beliefs. So isn't it time I got my own beliefs? Is it a time you got your own beliefs? And so when we say something, or I say something, if I stop myself and I just get still enough, even if it's just for a minute, to find out whatever I'm about to say, is it coming from me or is it coming from another generation? And I'm carrying that. This is my way to freedom, getting still, allowing those buried thoughts to surface so I can see where the patterns are, where they began, and what I need to let go, because those beliefs have created those patterns. And again, sitting in meditation, it shows me what's running in the background. And it allows me the opportunity to change what I've now just become aware of. So in that example of the oven and leaving it open or closed, once I realized nothing was going to happen, and I don't even know why I was saying it, I was just saying it, that gave me the opportunity to change it. When I've been beating myself up in the past and I sit there and I'm like, where is that voice coming from? I can see that all I'm doing is parroting what I heard told to me as a child. It doesn't mean that that's my reality, yet I was living my life as though it was my reality until I started questioning it, until I started asking if those different things I was telling myself were even true. And I found that they absolutely were not. The truth is, I'm none of those old things that got said to me. That was somebody else's opinion of me, their perception of me. And even then, it really wasn't. It was their perception of themselves being projected outward onto me. And perhaps you've all experienced that too at one time or another. Being afraid to ask for something that we absolutely are worthy and deserving of. Where did that notion come from that we have to ask permission for that, even? Whose belief is that we're carrying around, right? In today's modern times, I can't I can't believe that's our belief. It's somebody else's passed down generationally. And sitting still, remembering moments like that, you'll see where that originated from. And then once you see where that originated from, you can ask yourself, is that true for me today? Do I have to ask permission? Am I undeserving? Am I unworthy? I'm not a child anymore. I am an adult and nobody can punish me. There's no parents around me anymore. And even if there were, I wouldn't listen to them anymore. I'm done with that show, completely done with that. My goal is to have peaceful thoughts as much of the day as I possibly can. And I'm in charge of that. And I recognize that. So oftentimes when I go into meditation, it's not with an actual thought, oh, I'm going to get my freedom in these 40 minutes or hour long of meditation, or even 10 minutes of meditation. It's simply, okay, I'm curious to see what thoughts are going to come up during this walk or during this sitting. And then when they arise, it's like, oh, that's interesting. Where did that one come from? And then just be there, just looking at it, not really attaching anything to it, just noticing, ah, that's interesting. And maybe it does come to me. Where did it start from? Does it still really apply in my life? Heck no. Oh, gone. That one's gone. Next, gone. Next, gone. I mean, it really is that simple for me now because I've been practicing that long enough. Now I still have a ways to go. There are still things that disturb me. Sometimes I still think that I'm within my right to run the show, and I'm not. I just simply have to allow things. And I started this off by saying it's letting go of that control and simply allowing. I can't think of anything more peaceful than being in that state of mind. That doesn't make us a guru, doesn't make me a guru. It makes me a master, though, of my own thoughts, which has always been a goal of mine, to master my thinking rather than let my thinking keep mastering me. And that's what it did all those years before. My thoughts terrified me. They ran my life, and I was carrying a lot of somebody else's beliefs along the way. Once I got clear, once I started simply allowing, my life really did take a turn for the better. I can honestly respond to people now that I am living a life I love. I no longer feel that I need something or want something. I recognize all my needs are already met and they're very simple. I used to chase after the almighty dollar. Oh, let me work harder, work the overtime. Then when I got into being an entrepreneur, I was trying this and that and the other. Now I feel free to just give my gifts away. Just with the exception of the mediumship. And even that, I'm on a platform where I do give sessions away all the time. But that doesn't matter anymore because those are just, what did I think I was going to get out of having all that money? Nothing that I can't have without that money, to be honest with you. If I want to go on a trip, I can either hop online and visit that country fully, I can imagine it in my mind, or I can actually go and visit it, kind of thing. But that money doesn't make me into a person, does it? Now that's money being a master of my life. And I want no more masters in my life in that way. I'm happy to have some human beings like Sheetal and others as masters that I can continue to learn and grow from. I am an avid seeker, and I had to laugh because Michael Singer, what was his first book? In there,
Surrender experiment?
that was his second book, wasn't it? That was the second book. Whatever his first book was, he has a chapter in there that talks about running from this to that to the other learnings and teachings. That was me. If I heard there was a class, if there were bowls, I was there for singing bowls. I was there for the Lightworkers Conference. I was there for the something with the shamans, all the great shamans. I was there for everything. Did I walk away a better person from it? Not necessarily. I got a lot from books, though. Every book I read, I took away at least one thing. Sometimes I didn't even finish the book. I got what it was that I needed out of that book, and that was enough. And that created changes in me. And again, just that sitting in silence. It's not really silence because the mind is still active, but settling down enough so that whatever needs to download into me to be looked at, it happens, and I don't have to force it. That is allowing, not trying to push something to happen because then it never happens. Just simply being there, being present. That's why I like The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. I mean, in meditation, it doesn't get more now than that in my book, right? We're just in meditation, just waiting, turning within. All of the answers are inside of me. That I know 100%. They always surface up in those moments. So if I have a problem, then I also have the solution. It's never anything outside of me, ever. And it took me a lot of years to learn and understand that. It really did. I would have a problem and I was misery looking for company. Really, I would run around, hey, this is how no doom and gloom me. And I would find the people that would, oh yeah, me too. Now I find people like, oh, life is so good. It's so wonderful. I'm in charge of my thoughts. I'm creating my own reality. And I recognize that. Now I attract this entire group doing the same thing, right? I mean, doesn't that feel better? And that is my choice. That is one of my powers too, right? It's just as easy to have all these negative thoughts as it is all these wonderful thoughts that make me feel so much better. It takes the same amount of energy. And again, it took me many years to realize that. And once I started on that path, we talk about law of attraction. It was one positive thing. It was one synchronistic thing after another. I remember on one of my morning walks, and this is when I lived in Florida, Cape Coral, Florida. And I was walking down alongside of a highway, but this very wide path. And I was so appreciative of everything in my life that morning. And I remember I ended up sobbing. I was so grateful. But the first thing I saw was this amazing hawk just going over and over and over my head. I was like, oh, that's so beautiful. And there's this little bridge that I cross, and this sounds bizarre, but this fish exists. There was a fish walking on the pavement, and I was like, whoa, look at this fish. It was out of water. So I picked it up and I put it back into the creek. And I was like, that fish, could it really be walking? Yes, there is such a thing, I've learned, as a walking fish. So it had just come out of the water for a bit. A little bit further down, there's another little, it's not a river, but it's a heavy stream. There's some otters playing in there. So the more gratitude, the more appreciative, the more the friendly universe was showing me. I continued down, and I kid you not, maybe I'm not good with distance, but maybe 50 feet ahead of me, a Florida panther had crossed 4 lanes of road and was just standing there. It looked at me and I looked at it and was panting really heavily. And then it took off in the trees. I was like, can it get better? You know, I mean, the whole day I was soaring, but when you just get that aligned with that positive energy like that, with that level of appreciation, you will draw things to you that are just more beautiful than the next thing, something more to appreciate. It is a friendly universe, but you have to tune into that. Another morning, it was the most beautiful blue clear sky, I kid you not. And I was walking down, and it was a sad morning for some reason, and I remember crying, and I remember praying to whom I'm not sure. I was like, please just give me peace, please, please, please bring peace into my life. And I looked ahead of me, and there was a double rainbow across those same 4 lanes. There was no rain, there was no nothing that could have created that rainbow. So I started, oh, thank you so much. What a great sign, kind of thing. But it was so uplifting to me. I mean, this rainbows came out of nowhere. I promise you, out of nowhere. So it's like, again, aligning, being aware of the signs, because the signs are presented all of the time. It's when we tune in and tap in and really pay attention that it can be a life-changing moment. Absolutely. You could look outside and look at that full moon. The last full moon, I literally took a chair and I sat in the yard, and it was a nice morning. I just sat and I bathed in that beautiful moon. My husband came out and said, what are you doing? I said, I'm enjoying the moon with a cup of coffee in hand. That was just such a spectacular way to start my day. And again, it was a bit, until he came out, it was meditative. I was just staring at the moon and just in my own flow in that moment. And it was beautiful. And we all have this power of getting still and simply allowing and paying attention. At least this is my opinion, paying attention to those thoughts and questioning everything. Is what I'm believing? Is it my belief? Is it my mom's voice in my head, my dad's voice, my sister, brother? Who's talking in my head right now? Whose voice am I hearing in the background? And when you start asking questions like that, you start paying attention to that, you'll see a lot of times it's not your voice that you're listening to. It's still the echoes of a parent or even your spouse. My husband can absolutely 100% parrot off all the things that I caution him about or tell him to do without me ever having to be there. He's memorized them now, so they're not even his thoughts anymore. And he doesn't yet realize that. I do feel a bit embarrassed about that. It's like, watch where you're driving. You're going too slow, kind of thing. He already knows it. He'll call me and I'll hear something, say, what's that noise? I'll say, it's you going off the road, right? He goes, yes, so he knows that. And so we do the same thing unconsciously and sometimes consciously. But above all, I live this life that I love today. I'm in such a peaceful place now. I feel largely in control of my thinking. I am much, much more aware of the thoughts of, and you've heard me say there are the 3 kinds of business. There's yours, there's mine and there's the divine's. And I can catch myself because when I'm suffering, it's because I'm in somebody else's business in my head, have this whole long conversation that they're not even aware I've had with them. And of course, I'm always the winner, right? We're always the winner in those kind of conversations. So just reeling myself back in, just like that fishing rod, just reel myself back in, get back into a state of relaxation, of calm, and let life unfold. Literally, just let life unfold. It doesn't need me in charge, it's going to unfold anyhow. So for me to keep attempting to be in control is silliness. It was just silliness. And yet, half of my life was spent doing that. And some of that came from childhood. I had to learn to be a perfectionist. I had to learn to be a people pleaser as a method of survival. And that carried on into adulthood. I hadn't stopped to realize I don't need to do that anymore. Nobody can punish me now. I'm an adult. My parents are out of my life. I'm an adult. And that was such a freeing thought. It was such a simple thought. But once I realized nobody could punish me anymore if I'm not living by their rules, if I don't please them, etc. And that was freedom too. I could feel my shoulders just relaxing telling you that. It's just like, I remember those moments so vividly and they stuck with me, thank goodness. So I'm in charge of my life and my reality. And I love creating all the wonderful things that I have in it, including all of you. And that's about it. Thank you.
Wow, wow. What an amazing sharing, Sharon. Just wanted to keep listening to your experiences,
Thank you.
lifetime experiences.
Yes.
You know, it was not a easy childhood for you. It was very traumatic, and the most comfortable place we live is with our mom. But your childhood was totally different, and I cannot even imagine because that experience was not there for me. But I'm sure as a child, what it had uh, been to you, and then later on the stage, as a woman, you grew up, and then you again you faced challenges there, and you had a courage to walk away from those challenges, and you owned your life, and you walk away with your children to take a different route and different life altogether. It requires tremendous, tremendous, tremendous courage, Sharon. And I don't know who was helping you, guiding you there. And I'm really expressing my gratitude because every person who is getting help, we're all connected. That's what it says. And you continued your journey, right? As a spiritual student, and then you have gone door to door, so many gurus. You have taken all the names, I guess. So many classes and all. And then one thing today was amazing that I own my thoughts, I have control over my thoughts, I have control over my reality, and mind your own business. What an amazing statements these are. And if one can practice with this, that I'm not involving in somebody's business, somebody's thoughts, but only my own, and I think 99% of the problems will disappear just like that. And thank you, thank you, thank you so much for your valuable time. And I will open the stage for our, all the participants to come and either ask questions or share their thoughts about the session. And then later we will do a small meditation.